Hello all, it's Alex here. Welcome to my hobby vlog. So I thought I'd start off with showing you what I've done over the weekend with the commission job. So these are the Russian command from Artizan Designs, and I have to say the actual craftsmanship of the cars are absolutely off the charts, brilliant. Really impressed with the quality. Really over the moon with how they're all going together. So yeah, so I thought I'd show you how I've been progressing with them. So these were delivered on Friday. I've had a bit of a busy weekend, but I've managed to get 4 done. Well, almost done. I haven't varnished them yet, matte varnished them yet, and I've got to do a little bit more work on the bases as far as the snow's concerned, and the odd bit here and there. But all in all, I'm pretty pleased with how they look, to be honest. Yeah, one of the subscribers, Bear Cub, he wanted me to go through what colours I use, and what I'm probably going to end up doing at some point is either do a live YouTube stream, and then I just get the figures out, I prep them, base coat them and paint them in one go, and just so people can see the way I do it. And I'm not saying that it's the right way. I've only been doing this hobby for 13 months, so I'm still learning myself. But I spend an awful lot of time on YouTube looking at techniques and on the groups and seeing how they do things, and the stuff that I like I take on board and I practice, and the stuff I don't, obviously I leave that alone. But yeah, I'm not trying to pretend that I'm a great painter. I seem to be doing okay, and people seem to like what I'm doing, so I'm very appreciative of that. So yeah, so if I was to take this one here, for example, so this one's the first command. By rights, I think the majority of the officers wore the grey greatcoats, but the odd one did wear different colours, browns and khakis, from my research, and I wanted to kind of give Gary a little bit of variation, which is why I thought I'd do one in this colour. So yeah, he has pointed out the fact that I've put kind of dirt at the hems. I kind of, in my brain, tells me that if it's winter and there's puddles and dirt, it depends on how hard the snow and ice is, that he may have been dragging his coat through puddles and stuff. So I've kind of gone with the dirty look at the hem, and so I've now changed the way I've approached these great coats, and I've gone lighter at the hems and at the bottom, and then darker towards the top, which is what he wanted me to do. So he's the customer. I will do as he says. So yeah, so that's why you're seeing the dirt, because that's how I envisioned it to be. So I'm probably wrong in that, but all in all, I'll just zoom in on, see his features. I'm not sure about the light. Yeah, pleased with the face. I'm now putting blushes into the cheeks and the end of the nose. I'm kind of putting in like a kind of a red nose to kind of simulate the cold conditions that these guys had to do. I think these are destined for the Finnish campaign. I'm not 100% sure on my history there, but I believe they lost 10,000 Russian troops against the Finns, so it would have been hell, So, but as far as the colours go, I used most of the paints I use, bar a couple, are all Vallejo. So with this one here, I would have used US Field Drab to start off with, and then what I tend to do then is I paint all the colours in. the greys, the browns, the khakis, and then I go over with a kind of a non-oil, let that dry, and then I'll highlight. So then I'll highlight the creases of the tunic, and any creases of his greatcoat there. And then I'll put the details in as the mud and things at the bottom of the greatcoat, and then the buttons, and then I use Panzerrace. This is one of the ones that I use for the leather belt that he's got on, and then you can see that I've gone around the belt in a brass buckle, which is what I've seen on the internet. And then I use I started off with Gilliman's flesh because I base coat in white. So I go over the flesh in Gilliman's flesh, I let that dry, and then I'll use this one to pick out the finer details. So that's the one I use for the skin, and then once that's dried, I pick out the details of the nose, the chin and the cheeks with this one. So and then once I've done that, I'll do the eyes, but before I do the eyes, I'll put in a kind of a dark brown recess where the eye sockets are, then paint a stripe across. And I don't use white, I tend to use an off-white, which is this one here. So I put the two lines in for the whites of the eyes, and then I paint in the pupils either side. And then once I've done that, I then mix a red. It doesn't really matter what red. I use blood red here from Game Colour with airbrush thinners, having found that out on the internet. So I'll put quite a bit of medium airbrush thinners in a little tub, a little speck of the red, blood red, mix it all together, and then I just gently apply it onto the cheeks and the ends of the nose, and that creates that kind of cold look. And then once I've done that, I put in the stubble, because none of these guys would be clean shaven in the field, so there'd be some sort of beard growth going on. So that's what I do with that one, and then I pick out all the details, as in the auxiliaries, the water bottles they wear, weapons. Weapons I use Grim Black, which is a speed paint colour. I like this specifically as I'm base coating this in white, so nothing is ever truly black, and nor are the weapons. So, which is why I kind of like to use that. And then with the hat, he's got a grey fur on his frontage. I use a mahogany for the actual leather part of the hat. So yeah, and then I'm simulating the snow and ice, and how cold the figure looks. So I sprinkle a little bit of snowflakes on him, and then paint a little bit of white here and there to simulate that. And then on the base, I have applied the paste that I've made up using Green Stuff World snow powder. Now a lot of people have told me that you use baking powder or whatever it is, and we didn't want to go down that road because Gary pointed out that turns yellow, so we didn't want to go down there. So that's why I bought that proper stuff. Gary did suggest another one, but it was getting hold of it, because you can get it in America, but you can't seem to get it over here. So let's have a look at the other figures then. So this guy here, quite like this one. Quite like the features. When you buy figures and you look at the features and they almost look Russian, this guy for me looks Russian. I can't explain it. Just the features alone. If I was walking down the street and I saw someone looking like that, I would think they were Russian. And I think Artizan are absolutely brilliant quality. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I've done the again. I've researched this off Google. The colours of the greatcoat, the fur they wore on their hats and collars. Quite pleased with the effect. And then I've kind of put some white specks all over it, so to simulate snowfall. I mean, I've only just done the bases, so these are still wet, and I haven't gone round the bases with a colour yet, the same as this one. And I haven't obviously varnished that, but really pleased with how they've come out. Quite like the highlighting, and as you can see, I've gone lighter at the bottom as opposed to darker on that one. And I think the effect looks pretty good, so you know, I bow to experience, and Gary was right on that. So yeah, good. And then onto this one here. This one's holding the binos. Put a little bit of beard growth on him. Like the way he looks. You know, on Google it tells me that the buttons were brass. Even in the field they were brass. And then what I've done is I've painted on, because I've got no decals or anything, I've painted on the patches and the collars from looking at the uniforms in Google, so which is a square red at the end of the lapels, with a yellow border with 2 stars in between. Now, it's so small, I mean, you can see from my monstrous hands how small these figures are. But what I've done is I've simulated the stars by 2 yellow dots in between, you know, as a horizontal kind of position in between those red lapels. So I think that looks pretty effective. He's holding the binos, quite like the satchel he's wearing. Yeah, I'm quite happy with how that's come out. So pleased with that one. Well, I'm pleased with all of them. And this one here, I think this one's my favourite. So this guy here, he's, you know, quite like his features as well. Yeah, so I spent a bit of time on all of them, but I think this one is, for me, is the best one. So I've kind of gone with the red patches on his lapels again, with the yellow border and the 2 stars inside horizontal. I like the highlighting, the brass buttons, the brass belt buckle. I like that. Yeah, really nice figure. And at the bottom, at the top of his hat, you can see that there's some snowfall, as is across his shoulders and back a little bit. And at the base of the hem, there's a bit of snow there on his greatcoat. So yeah, I really like that. Really like these figures. Yeah, so that's the update. I've only done 4, and I've got another 28 to do. So for the next ones, I'm planning on doing the Soviet assault engineer support weapons, because I'm really quite excited about having a go at this fella here with the flamethrower. So that may be the next 4 that I have a crack at. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off these basins, paint them, varnish them, and then put them away so they don't get damaged. And then I shall jump onto these 4, and eventually I'll have all 32 done. Then I'll be able to ship them out to America. So yeah, enjoying it. And that's where we are. If there's anything you'd like me to do, like Bear Cub has mentioned, you know, he likes to listen to me waffling on while he's painting, as I do with people like the Miniature Painter and Gavin Booth and Wargame Historical. I like to listen to Josh and all these people that I respect. If there's anything you want me to add into my videos, or if I can do better, or is there anything you don't like, let me know. I don't mind. I'm not taking anything personally, yeah. So I just want to improve it. You know, I've got 523 subscribers now, so it's really going in the right direction. And with the commission work, it helps that. So yeah. So thanks for watching. If you do like the content, you may give me a like, which will help the algorithms. And if you haven't subscribed and you like the content, then please feel free to do that. It's totally free, and that will help me get noticed a little bit more, and then expand the channel, which is what I'm hoping to do. But for now, have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next one.